blue skies, dreaming big and aiming high. Name the clouds passing by, wishing we run away. All we need is our passports, baby. Leave the rest in our troubled minds. Let us go down in laughter, baby. Trying to figure out what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. You are mine. Come on and run away. We wanna run away. We don't need any reasons, baby. Leave it all for the faded hearts. I don't mind if they call us crazy, 'cause they don't understand what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. We're no kids no more. I need to feel alive in this dreadful town. I'm running out of time, and as long as you're mine, I wanna run away. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. In the starlight, I see in your eyes. I just wanna fall in the starlight. I see in your eyes.
Multiple witnesses have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is still unclear. No matter what your passion is, soccer, rugby, racing, or esports, become a part of the experience with the moments we deliver.
These are those moments I don't think anybody else is going to forget.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here for the first day for the SEA region for ESL 1 Birmingham. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire. John, we are here for Geek Fan versus Reality Rift. Sir, how are you feeling this fine evening?
Oh, I'm feeling really excited to be back in Southeast Asia. It has been a while. We've been casting some China games, casting some Oceanic games, but we're finally back in what I consider the most bash your head against the wall region of Dota 2, and it's always fun casting Southeast Asia for me, Mike. I hope you're as excited as well.
I am, John. We've been casting a lot of the Chinese region. We've been casting a lot of Australia. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we've been casting some Australian leagues. SCA though has not been on the map for a bit, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's in store here.
Oh.
I can't say I'm too shocked by the first pickup already. The first pick, Ember, is going to be there from Reality Rift.
Yeah, the thing about this for Reality Rift is Hustler has played it a couple of times. So if you're looking for a team that will run the pause for Ember, Reality Rift has done it. And they do have that option here. You don't quite have the bans up against Geek Fam to take away that flex as well. So Geek Fam a couple of times now have run the offlane DK. That's something that Cuckoo has played a couple of times. I believe they've also done like Kunkka offlane, Queen of Pain offlane. So all of these mid lane slash offlane heroes in the first phase pick, which we've seen a lot of teams across every region kind of go for, are still in the pool for Geek Fam.
Well, their first pick, they're having quite a bit of a think about it. See if they do go down any of those routes. They're spending quite a bit of time with this first pick. The picks like the Shadow Demon, the Grimstroke, all still going to be available here for Geek Fam if they do wish to go down those routes as well. And they go for the DK. Now, this is one you were kind of talking about the other day. You actually mentioned to me that you prefer seeing the first pick DK over the first pick Ember.
Yeah.
And long behold, there it is. And, well, they get the Grimstroke as well.
Yeah, it's a really solid sort of first phase opening. The DK has the flexibility in this case for the offlane. Cuckoo has played it a couple of times in that position. Of course, can play the DK as well, so that option's still on the pool. The combination with the Grimstroke is actually pretty darn solid, right? You can Inkswell Blink in for follow-up on your Dragon Tail. You could wait for the Soulbind out to get a double Dragon Tail out, so it's really potent, it's really solid. RR close out with Keeper of Light for the first phase. Ember Spirit Keeper, we've seen that so many times. Will-O-Wisp just really helps out the Ember, and of course, Kotl does have a really decent time kind of controlling the lane from the laning phase. So with this kind of pickup, though, it does kind of tell you that perhaps they are looking at the core Ember. We haven't seen support Ember with Keeper in any game we've covered just yet.
It's kind of intriguing as well that that RR do go for the first pick Ember, because usually with the Ember Spirit, it's usually if you do have the second pick, you'll go for the Ember +1, and it's either always going to be the Grimstroke or the Keeper of the Light. So when they went for the first pick Ember this time around, I suppose their train of thought was, well, they've only, Geek Fam only have one choice here. Do they take the Grimstroke or the Coddle off us? And obviously Geek Fam decided they'd rather take the Grimstroke for themselves and deny it off the side of RR. That still does leave them with the Keeper of the Light, though. That's the thing, right? Like, they still have a great hero with the Ember. So ultimately, it's not all lost there for RR, but it is. I found it just a little bit unusual that they'd go for that as a first pick rather than having second pick and then going Ember +1.
Yeah, it's not the usual order. I think what they are going for is a bit of confusion, perhaps. Like, you have forced out Geek Fam to take the DK, so you're kind of playing mind games as well. Although I don't think RR has as much room. Like, Ember with Kotl again tends to be the core Ember, while Geek Fam can still run the offlane DK. Like, that's still a very solid offlane for them to have. It's hard to deal with. The matchup against Ember down mid isn't too bad. It's also something we've seen so many times. Like, the DK will take until, I don't know, level 3 to kick in and kind of just spam out the Dragon Breath and just kind of clear out the wave, farm up that way. Ember doesn't really have too much early damage output to threaten the DK, so it's just going to be a farming lane if that's a matchup. I'm not sure if RR wants to give that, though, because the way Geek Fam plays is really centered around Raven's farm. You want to be active from the get-go to shut down their safe lane instead. So you want that mid to be a bit more active. You want to kind of leave that lane by the time you're 6 and shut down the safe lane instead.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you. I do love the pick here from Geek Fam, Nyx Assassin coming out now. So essentially, he already counters both heroes that RR have. They have the Ember, who hates going up against that Nyx. And you have the Keeper of the Line, who's just a squishy support. It's just easy pickings for that Nyx Assassin. But there's something a little bit better up against the Nyx. You've got a Pangolier now. Doesn't care for what the Nyx Assassin has to throw out, and overall, just a very, very popular hero in this current meta.
It really is, and it really ties into the draft of Reality Rift nicely. Um, you've got excellent team fight coming out now with a Will-O-Wisp, with a Rolling Thunder, and the Ember Spirit to lay the damage on. The Pangolier as a core doesn't take too much farm to come online as well, so this is going to be playing into what I presume Reality Rift wants to do. They want to play fast, they want to deny Raven some early farm, and Geek Fam does go for the Morphling. This is something they've given Raven so many times that it's not too surprising, but it does kind of play into that concept, right? Morphling as a hero is just really big. It's very hard to deal with a massive Morphling, and what Geek Fam tends to do is protect Raven. And if you give him a hero like this, that protection will pay off. So RR have to find some more early timing heroes just to really deny Geek Fam that opportunity to farm up here.
Yeah, I certainly have to agree with that. I suppose they do still have a pos 4 to pick here, although, you know what, I say that, but the Pangolier and the Ember could both fit those roles very, very well, so we'll see what RR goes. If we see another offlane pick, then we could almost definitely assume that the fourth pick offlane would be the one to go into the offlane. If it is going to be a pos for Pango, though, in terms of applying that pressure onto Raven and really just trying to shut him down a little bit, I'm not sure if that's going to do the job. They are going to go for an offlane Beastmaster, though. So, great lockdown in the form of that Beastmaster. The Boars, I don't know if he can apply enough pressure onto the Morphling for it to be really a problem for Raven. But I suppose if you do push down that tier 1 tower early on and you just take map control early, the Morphling's going to struggle.
Yeah, it definitely will. You do have leeway still to go for the boars here. Like, at least you're not worrying about like a Chen or an Enchantress to constantly steal the boars. We've seen that kind of lane matchup before. So KOI XY probably doesn't have to worry about that in this game. So it's a lot easier at least to push. The farm denial is another thing. The Morphling Grimstroke lane is pretty solid. Like, it can be pretty offensive as well. You just dive in with the Inkswell if you wanted to, and that can be hard if they are running that dual lane. So something to watch out for. The dual lane of Beast and looking like the Pangolier support, I think, is rather strange. The disarm is annoying for the Morphling for sure. We have seen that in play a couple of times up against these farming cores. The key thing is your timing to 6. Like, once you have that roar, you should look for that kill attempt on the morph straight up.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with you on that. We'll see, though. It's not as easy said as done, because most pro players will understand as soon as that Beastmaster does hit 6, we're going to just run and leave the lane. Don't even bother trying to contest any longer. Still, Raven can't be underestimated like that. It's a very, very good position one to have on your team. We are going to have to wait out this final ban from the side of RR before we get to see how they finish these drafts off. You know, I love the RR social media team as well. They actually posted something up on Twitter, kind of asking the question, who is playing the Ember, John? Who is really going to be playing this Ember? And I agree. I still... is it going to be that mid-Ember? Is it going to be the same? I don't know. It's such a flexible pick. So
Yeah, it really is. Like, it's just so potent. I think right now it's such a value pick for a lot, like the DK as well. Both of these are really flex. The one thing I'd say though, if it is the pos for Ember here, it does seem kind of odd. I think you've kind of locked yourself to the core Ember just because, well, you've got the Beastmaster and Pango, right? Like, the Beastmaster is most certainly going to be a core. The Pango safe, I don't know. Pango safe for mid is kind of a possibility. Like, I
Kinda.
believe we have actually seen the Pango mid, right? We've seen it like once.
Once.
Literally once, and I don't think that worked out too well. So probably don't want that. One thing I'm surprised by the ban outs though, you don't see the Void Spirit banned out. Geek Fam, Carl has played it a couple of times. They could opt for it. We have seen that in response to the Ember. If they want to run the DK off, you still have the room for that.
That's the beauty of these picks, though, these first pickups, is they really are so flexible. And that DK, like you said, he doesn't need to be mid. They could really just shove it in the off lane and pick a more greedy mid that needs that solo XP and farm more than the DK does. More so the XP in this case. The DK does need the XP, but at the same time he doesn't need it quite as fast as some other mid pickups would. And so RR, they go into the Shadow Fiend, so that's a...
Alright. Yeah,
it's a very nice pick into the DK, that's for sure. If you are going to run that 1v1 matchup, but is it going to be the DK?
Yeah, like it's super open for Geek Fam. I'd reckon no. I'd reckon the DK's off. I'd reckon Cuckoo's going to be playing that DK. Again, that's something Geek Fam has done a lot. Wouldn't be too surprised. Like the lane matchup for the DK up against Shadow Fiend isn't great. You know, that's just not something the DK is going to win out. Probably want something that can bully it. I'd say Void Spirit would actually line up there pretty well. Comes online fast. It would help you buy time for the Morphling. It's not a hero that requires too much farm. So you can take that. Helps you rip into the backline. Perhaps clear out the Keeper of the Light. That's going to be a really big nuisance if it gets the Will-O-Wisp off. I think there is a lot of value for something slippery like that. The Puck would have been great too, but Reality Rift did ban it out. So not going to have that option. They go with the Queen of Pain instead, so it does the same job, right? It jumps into the back line, it can clear out the supports. We're going to find out, though, what Reality Rift's pause 4 actually is. It should be the Ember. No, it's the safe lane Ember, okay? So Drew's on the safe lane Ember, that's fine. And it will be Hustle and Pangolier. So you've got the Pango Keeper of the Light support duo, which, it's not the best in terms of keeping heroes in place.
No.
So the laning phase, the damage output's nice, but they can just kind of TP in front of you if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's true. Luckily for the Pango, and I think this is why the hero is so darn popular, like Rolling Thunder is an ability. When you watch it, you think, wow, that is a powerful ability. That is really strong. And then you look at the cooldown, and you're like, wait a minute. There's hardly any downtime. It feels like every single team fight, no matter what, you're going to have it. It's not something like a Ravage or a Black Hole where you're going to have to wait 2 or 3 minutes. The Rolling Thunder just seems to be off cooldown pretty darn quick. I think that's why it's so darn popular. Like Hustler on that pause 4 Pango, yeah, he's not going to get any farm, but he's still going to do the same job as any other offlane Pango would. In the form of just rolling around during a team fight, being disruptive, being as annoying as possible. Hopefully getting lucky and getting some lucky shots off. See if it all pans out, John. I do like this draft from both sides. And of course, I have to ask you the hard question, sir. Who has the better draft?
Ooh, that's a bit tricky. I'd actually say Geek Fam. I trust in the offlane DK a lot more. Its power spikes are just so smooth. You combine that with Queen of Pain, who also just hits 6 and bursts people down. The potency of their control here is a lot stronger with the Grimstroke Nyx, much more solid. Reality Rift, with what they have to kind of make choices here. Who are you gonna roar up? Are you gonna be hunting down the Morphling and roar him up first? Or are you gonna be using that to lock Carl in? Because Carl, as the Queen of Pain, is not under threat from any of your supports. Right? Rolling Thunder on Queen of Pain is very hard to land. Will-O-Wisp for Keeper of the Light sometimes takes a while to be on, and that's a massive cooldown. That's probably the most important cooldown for Reality Rift. So they've got to watch out for when exactly they use the Will-O-Wisps. That's their only real teamfight presence. That is kind of guaranteed, because you can't always guarantee the Rolling Thunder.
Right. And I don't disagree with you on that at all. I think if you're going to go on anyone, though, with that Beastmaster at 6, I think you really do focus down the Morph, right? Because ultimately, even though the Queen of Pain is going to be a pain to deal with, that Morphling, if Raven gets the space he needs to get started, it's going to be very hard to slow him down. Especially once you get to that point where you have the Morbid Mask, you pick up a Yasha or whatever else. Maybe he just rushes the Ethereal based on how good he's going. I I still think that the play is to just go for the raw on the morph, but I do agree that it could go either way. Like, the Queen of Pain is also very important to take out, and you don't really want to give either hero a free game. It can be very, very painful if you do. A lot of decisions to make, John.
Oh yeah, I think one thing as well to watch out for is the Spirit Vessel Carrier. Going to be really important to shut down both the DK and the Morph. So it should be Hustler building it up. Like, the Pango can carry it. It's not kind of the most natural, but it can. And you really are going to need the timing of that. If not Hustler, then Drew, but pause one Ember. I don't think you want to take that detour in terms of farm.
Right. Well, bot lane do have the Hustler KYXY lane. They're going to be up against Raven, who for now is alone because we do have Zephyr up at top of the Nyx Assassin, being a bit frustrating here with Whiteman as well. They actually went for that level 1 Stroke of Fate, but they just want to apply as much harass as possible before the lane actually connects together with these creeps, and that's a lot of damage. It's one thing people tend to underestimate, John. The damage from the Stroke of Fate at level 1 is very high.
Yeah, it's just super obnoxious when you land it on multiple stuff at once. Really does drag it down. Like, Drew and Nuts are at half now. It's at that point where you don't want to pop the salve, but you're not going to be lasting long with these tangos.
No, you definitely are not. It never helps either that you're up against a DK who can just passively regen on his own without having to expend regen. Of course, looking at mid lane, Carl, he's going to be there up against Alacrity, and well, we saw before, Alacrity, of course, got the SF up against the DK, but then they switched it up with Carl. They got him the Queen of Pain instead. Definitely not the favorable matchup Alacrity was looking for on the SF, but I don't think it's too bad either, right? Like, he can still farm pretty decently. Worst case scenario, you just start using range from a distance to secure farm. It's not all bad news.
No, definitely not. This is not something the SF outright loses. It's just a lane that Geek Fam kind of can salvage out. Like, the DK would have been completely demolished here. Just too much magic damage early on, so Queen of Pain gives him a little better scaling. It's not going to shut down Alacrity, but you can kind of harass him out. It's not the best, though, but it's there.
Well, top lane, Cuckoo. Taking a lot of damage, but he'll be fine. He just going to walk out of range of that Illuminate as well. Meanwhile, poor old Drew getting stunned by the neutrals. Mid lane, speaking of low, Carl got extremely low by Alacrity. And that was the razors flying out from the SF, but they weren't enough to finish him off. He barely survives with his life intact. And there's already been some fairly close calls in this game so far, but nobody dying quite yet. But this is what I love about SEA Dota, John. They're just so aggressive in the lanes. We never see these passive farming lanes in this kind of region. They're just always going at it.
Oh yeah, it's all about the activity. It's all about kind of shoving it in your opponent's face. You already have Zephyr kind of rotating in as well, but I believe that was spotted out by the ward, so they're probably not going to find Alacrity.
Just a quick mana drain, and he does connect the Impale. It's not going to lead to anything, but I suppose a bit of extra damage never hurts. They are actually going to get the D-ward off as well. Alacrity not going to be in range to try and deny that off, and well, they've actually put him in a very, very awkward position on that SF now. He is going to have to salve up very, very soon.
Yeah, it's super low, and it's a bit of back and forth, right? Every single time he goes back to heal up, you give some time for Call to farm up, although it's not amazing. He's 8-1, 15-7 on our SF, so certainly a bit of a lead there for RR.
Yeah. Of course, Raven is still going very well at the bot lane on the Morphling. He's essentially uncontested right now, like 18 last hits, 5 denies, just casually farming away, no problems here. KYXY is at that level 3 mark and does have the level 2 balls, but up against the Morphling who can just juggle his HB with I can't even remember what the damn ability is called now. The attribute shift. It's really hard. In fact, they're going to Inkswell right now, waveform into KYXY, and with that Stroke of Fate, they may not necessarily find the kill, but they are sure going to force him out. In fact, maybe they do get the kill. Whiteman, he's going to chase for it. He does have Stroke of Fate now up and running. KYXY trying to juke them out. There'll be a quick sell from KYXY, and he's actually going to get away with this. No blind stroke of fate to fly out, and he actually sneaks past. Whiteman barely spots him out, but doesn't connect now with the stroke, and it's all too late.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame they didn't find that kill. Overall, though, Geek fam's still probably pretty happy. Like, Raven's free farm is building up. KYXY is not really applying the pressure. Hustler's presence hasn't been the best. Like, he could probably throw out the swashbuckle, maybe hope for a lucky shot, but it doesn't do too much, and that's something Geek fam is certainly maximizing now.
Oh, they certainly are. Raven bot lane with the Inkswell, trying to go after KYXY once again. Just holding on to that waveform for now, but he will commit in the end. And KYXY, he doesn't die. Raven, he'll just go ahead and take the ball for himself. Whiteman, though, is falling very, very low on the Grimstroke, and Hustler will not give up on this chase. Stroke of Fate does come out, but Hustler does find the first blood and will be able to swashbuckle away in time. And they are not able to find any form of trade on the side of Geek fam.
Yeah, it's a nice little pick-off for Reality Rift. Does give them a bit more in the lane. Like, they're not finding last hits. Might as well find a support. They have kind of got themselves stuck here. Like, you do see Hustler actually walking away to grab his regen, and KYXY has spent a lot on buying some more set of tangos and salves. So, maintaining this lane has come at a bit of a cost. The early farm for KYXY isn't going to be that fast.
No, that is true. It is going to be a rather slow process. In fact, like that Helm of the Dominator he's trying to go for is... It's not being, you know, too slow, but it definitely isn't at the most efficient timing. Not quite yet anyway. I guess as a Beastmaster, though, you're kind of used to just dominating the lane up against some melee pos 1, and... Well, Raven isn't allowing that. Like, look at this. Just the aggression. He takes down both balls, comes back, dishes out more damage to that Beastmaster, forces out another salve, and now they're going to try and go for a kill. Whiteman, he'll be there with the Inkswell. Raven does have waveform if he wants. He probably won't even bother. In fact, maybe he will. There's a kill there, and KYXY will go down. Raven on this Morphling, just so aggressive.
Yeah, you'd really want to invest a few more resources there to shut that hero down. Like, sure, your top lane is kind of going okay with Drew, but the Morphling just gets out of control super fast.
Oh, Cuckoo. He's going to be in trouble, though. There was a rotation from Alacrity, and he does pick up the kill. So, eventually, they do get something out of their Beastmaster dying. They essentially get in a direct trade, but the only issue is Alacrity was forced to rotate for that. And so that was time that the SF isn't sitting there just farming up. But I suppose when we look at the CS board anyway, Alacrity is up there. He's actually at the top, and well, it turns out he's got plenty of stacks in the jungle as well, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, I really like the vision coming out here from Geek fam, though. Like, they've got these aggressive wards watching the jungle. One blocking the camp, which they haven't actually dewarded yet, because there was a stack before this came out. They're really just good timing in that. And, oh, Suffer, just a bit too far.
Could be in trouble,
but it's fine.
Yeah. Hustler, he has the Orb of Venom, but he doesn't bother trying. No point.
Yeah, right now for Reality Rift, it's about securing that jungle farm for the SF. So that's why you do have Nuts around as well. Just making sure they get multiple stacks off with a Keeper of the Light, trying to make sure the efficiency still stays up.
And it looks like it probably will, though. As I say that, Zephyr rotates in with an Invis rune, but he was underneath the sentry, and now Hustler will go for a swashbuckle, and Zephyr probably going to die, and they do. And Raven even giving him the tip.
Yeah. Rather strange. You lost your teammate there, Raven. But yeah, that's perfectly fine. Alacrity will take it. He's had a fantastic time down mid. You know, the matchup with the Queen of Pain did favor him in the end. Like, you didn't really kill off Carl, but Carl farm is super slow. Like, 35 last hits right now, not the fastest for Queen of Pain.
They found Drew, however. The Ember ends up losing his life, and it was Cuckoo who picked it up. He did have to pop the Dragon form for that, so maybe you don't find as much value, but finding that POS 1 Ember is going to be very, very important. And they do so, and in fact, Cuckoo is going to just rush to the tier 1 tower, and he's going to try and apply a bit of pressure here. Maybe a little bit difficult while Nuts is around, but no, he'll get in there. He'll do some dot damage to the tower before we do have Drew returning back into the lane. But now 3 heroes up there. So they're ready to go again on this Ember if they have the chance. Cuckoo will breathe fire, although he's taking a lot of damage. He will now Dragon Tail up. The Stroke of Fate will slow them down, so they won't bother chasing any further.
Yeah, it's just a lot of investment from Geek Fam to really keep Drew in his place up top. Like, they've got the free lane down bot anyway. Raven doesn't need to be babysat, so they might as well go for shutting down our zone pos one. And Drew's farm isn't too bad. Like, it's right there with Cuckoo's. It's not exactly fast, but hey, you'll take what you can get.
Well, you know what, John? Well, I was about to say, we haven't seen a Roar come out yet from KYXY, and he's sitting at level 7, but there it was. Onto Raven, the only issue is that Roar was for defensive purposes. Speaking of Zephyr, he needs to defend himself right now because Drew is on top of him and they do secure the kill on the Nyx Assassin. Cuckoo came in, but he's just too late to the party. And Drew will be fine to get himself out. But that Roar we just saw down at the bot lane, that was the first Roar of the game, and it really ended up leading to nothing. It was not great.
Yeah, this is something Reality Rift has kind of just let pass. Like, they've just ignored Raven now. Past the laning phase, you know, after those sets of kills, they just left KYXY alone, which is fine. Like, I don't think they have anything in them right now to deal with Raven, but they should really get a grip on this guy before he starts getting out of control. It's been free farm so far. He just buys out the Perseverance. I believe he's saving up for a Linken's. So it's going to be a Linken's first just to block that Roar. You need to make use of that before it's up.
Top lane, Cuckoo finds a T1 tower, but it may cost him his life. Now, Soulbind, Double Silence does come out with the Inkswell on Cuckoo, and he's a tanky boy, so he'll just run his way out of there. Though Drew is going to keep up the chase now, getting the chains off. Still, you need more follow-up damage than that. They do get the Illuminate. Nuts with the level 2 Illuminate, actually able to channel it long enough to connect on the DK, just barely.
Yeah, that is a pretty nice take. Like, they did still lose their tier 1 top, but they do manage to find that counter kill. This should allow RR to leave the top lane since it's kind of dead now. So that's going to allow maybe some early rotations from Drew. He does have his Urn of Shadows up, so he's saving up for the Spirit Vessel. Like, he's probably the best carrier. It's a pos 1 going for Spirit Vessel. Not ideal, but at the same time, you need it in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're looking for that right-click damage, you're always going to have the SF anyway. The Spirit Vessel just so valuable on these Embers these days. And, well, they smoke up, just as you called it, John, down to the bot lane. Well, KYXY gonna bait in Zephyr now. Waveform forward from Raven. They don't want to lose this Beastmaster, but they do. There goes your Raw initiation. And now they've got to use the Rolling Thunder and Chains, and they might find Zephyr. But it's not really the target they came for.
No. Ooh, it's a big missed opportunity. They need a Roar to take care of Raven. So the moment KYXY just dies like that, you really can't find any big valuable targets. Not just Raven, of course, but the Queen of Pain is something you can't patch without the Roar. So they just kind of miss an opportunity. Really good play from Geek Fam to know that that's the hero to go for. The most important hero on Reality Rift for ganks is KYXY. And they need to give the guy a little bit more time to cook up. Like, he has his Helm of the Dom. I'd say he needs a blink. He needs a very fast blink in this game just to gap close and catch those heroes out.
Well, they'd backed off from that bot T1 prior, but now Alacrity says no, we're going to go ahead and take it. We did see Cuckoo before, just forcing in that T1 mid. Still has the Dragon Form up, in fact. And he'll keep forcing the wave out. So they understand they have a small lead right now on the side of Geek Fam, and in terms of their draft anyway, it really allows them to be active much earlier on, and so they're going to really try and force this. In fact, it's down to the bot lane again for KYXY, who's already had a tough time. Geek Fam will barely miss out on that kill, though. He does manage to just run away. Oh, but KYXY is coming back in, just playing with fire here. He'll spot out Cuckoo. And that'll be the end of that. He'll understand. Maybe it's time to just stay away from this lane. It's looking a bit too dangerous.
Yeah, this is a lot of time, though, being bought out for Geek Fam. Like, even if they're not finding their aggression, Reality Rift has not been able to get out their early rotation. So Raven is free farming. He's got the ultimate orb as well. So it's only the recipe left for the Linken's is out, and then straight to the shotgun.
Oh, Inkswell, mid lane, drew it. Hey, he'll get out in time. Nice Remnant and Sleight of Fist. Dragon Tail stun just nowhere near enough at level 1 to really hold the Ember down like that. So Geek fam, they'll continue just protecting Raven, giving him that space. RR will basically do the same thing with Alacrity. Just allow him to have that space for a little bit, get his items up, and then maybe once you've hit that power spike, you go for something. In fact, they do think about going after Cuckoo. But he'll also run out of there just fine. No issues with him. And Zephyr. That Vendetta may get spotted out, but there's no detection around. He will scout out the side of RR though, so GeekFam could try and turn this as they do see exactly where they are. But you've got to be wary as well that there's probably Beastmaster Hawks around, and speaking of, there's one right now flying towards Whiteman. So they'll leave it be, and perhaps they'll just try and set up for a tier 2 tower defense.
Yeah, RR can push quite hard, although I think they're just going to be satisfied with baiting out the Glyph. They're not going to be looking to invest too much. This is really favoring Geek Fam though. Like, these missed opportunities just means more farm for Raven. You have Cuckoo saving up for the blink. That's when Geek Fam kicks in their own aggression. They've got the solid initiation with a blink Dragon Tail. Whereas you look at Reality Rift, the itemization on KYXY, he is actually just going for the Necro Book, which is fine. Right? It's a Beastmaster you want to push. This does mean though that you are not going to be catching out either of those two slippery heroes.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, that's for sure. And he just roars up Zephyr on the Nyx. No wasting time. There's just find a kill, and now with that kill, they're going to go straight after Cuckoo and get the Dragon Knight as well. So it's just all about finding one pick off, and RR realize they're a bit stronger with their own draft, and they're starting to really hit some power spikes. So they really just want to get a kill and then set up for more. So Carl now will jump in. KYXY cops the Sonic Wave. It was a nice one, but there's a Rolling Thunder right behind Carl. He couldn't get the blink off. Soulbind will be there from Whiteman with the Will-O-Wisp dropping as well, but they are blowing up on the side of Geek Fam. Oh, Carl, what was that?
Yeah, that was super close though. Like, he was just about to blink when the Rolling Thunder hit him. So, not the best initiation from Geek Fam. Very well played from RR. Right? Like, they're just making use of this nice little power spike. With what they have right now, they've realized they can clump up, take those objectives. Like, they took a tier 1 with 3 kills. Really nice trade. They should really keep that pressure up. I don't want them to start farming up and sitting back. They just need to play constantly aggressive, melt this map, because there's still one big problem on the map. Raven free farming, right? Like, it doesn't look quite as fast, and you do have Alacrity matching up fine. It's only Linken's. But that Linken's already means that ganking Raven is really hard unless you drag like 3 heroes in with solid lockdown.
I mean, it's a concern. Like, I agree that it's just the Linken's. It doesn't look that scary, but it kind of is when you consider the cost of this item. The fact that he's just freely farming up right now with absolutely zero contention. RR must be feeling very, very confident about their ability to either finish the game faster than the Morph can be up, or deal with the Morphling when he is farmed up. I would not take the second option though. It is still a Morphling. It is still very, very hard to deal with if he does have farm. And Raven's certainly going to have that farm. He's going to an Ethereal Blade next, and judging by the speed of his farm right now, he should have it maybe within the next 5 minutes, maybe less.
Yeah, and on top of that, you've got the blink up in Cuckoo. So Geek Fam actually does have the options to play a bit more aggressive now. They've been kind of passive. We've seen 1 or 2 smokes every now and again. With that blink on Cuckoo though, once you have the Dragon form up, you just blink with long range stun in. If you have the Soulbind, even better if Whitemon's around. So just a solid wave kind of forcing the hand of RR now. And RR, like they do have some big items here. I'd say they are just waiting for the BKB on Alacrity. Once he has that up, they don't need to worry, although... Ooh.
Yeah, Raven could be in trouble. Nice waveform TP. I believe there's... Oh, there is Chains
No.
Drew. He got it off in time, and now the Rolling Thunder will fly through, almost knocking Raven off the map. Poor old Raven, he just wants to stay in this game. They will eventually take him out. And that was a very, very intriguing kill as well, because you had Zephyr there who actually broke the smoke in that Vendetta, but they just kept going, believing they'd be able to find that Morphling, and that they do.
Yeah, that was super greedy from Raven. And, you know, we were talking like the Lincolns was a big item. It wasn't even pop. Like, none of the catches there had to go through the Lincolns. So, it's a bit of an issue for Geek Fam if they keep losing that out.
Oh, Carl!
Oh,
He
no.
got chained up. Will-O-Wisp will probably save him, and it does. He is allowed to run away. Now Alacrity going to go after Cuckoo instead. That Will-O-Wisp being quite frustrating here for the side of Geek Fam. They'll lose Zephyr. And now Drew will go straight onto Whiteman. Carl is still around the area, just blinking between the tree line. They know Cuckoo's also there, but he's blinked towards the south as well. And they do manage to get both cores out, but you've lost both of your supports for... I don't want to say no reason, John, but... They probably could have survived that.
I'd say you're right. I'd say you're right, though. No reason there. Like, that was just a really wonky way of jumping in. TPing in front of the tier 1 when you know the Keeper Flight still has his Will-O-Wisp. They didn't blow any ultimates to find Raven first. Just a strange movement coming out from Geek Fam, easily punished by RR. They've got a 4K advantage now. It was dead even despite all those kills earlier on. But that last engagement has given RR a massive lead. So they go into the rush. Gonna be a very fast take. Geek Fam has no information there, no wards watching that pit at all. So they're not gonna even be able to contest. They need to kind of take a step back. Wait for Raven to farm up. I guess they smoke up now. They actually do want fight right after the rush.
Into an Aegis. I don't know about that. Alacrity does get stunned up. Spy Carapace impale there. They do spun out the Aegis on the SF. I suppose it's the strength of a surprise, right? Like, you don't really know this is coming. Because you wouldn't expect to smoke straight after a Roshan take. The Geek Fam trying to surprise the enemy side. They do chop down the mango tree, though, and now they jump onto Whiteman. This isn't the target you want. The Requiem will be popped as well. They do get nuts, however. So they found one. It's a pos 5 kill, and that may just be it.
Yeah, I mean, they still find something, which is nice, I guess. Like, that kill went on to Cuckoo, so he gets a little bit more going his way. He is still saving up for his next item, not quite queued up. I'd say a BKB would be pretty darn good, if not the pipe upgrade for your hood, just to mitigate a lot of the Embers damage and a lot of the SF's damage. Neither of them really went for, like, a physical sort of build. Well, you do see, actually, Drew's queuing up the Desolator, so... It will be a bit more painful later on, but right now you are going to get a lot of value from something like a pipe.
Well, there's going to be a smoke straight off the bat for RR now. They're going to go into that Radiant jungle. They find anybody, though. It seems as though they are aware on the side of Geek Fam that something is wrong, and they do back out just in time. A very, very close call.
Cuckoo actually broke it. He was farming the camp right by the cliff. He had perfect vision down. They were in the low ground, so just not making it work there.
They're still chasing. They want Carl, but Drew already missed the chains. So they won't be able to try and capitalize on that Queen of Pain. Instead of Alacrity, he'll start forcing in that bottom tier 2 tower with the Beastmaster. And they will successfully take that. And now mid lane, there might be a team fight about to break out. Geek Fam are being very, very hesitant, just trying to back out of there. RR are doing the exact opposite. They want to go in right now. Remnant forward, but nobody's really going to be around, so looks like instead they think about trying to apply pressure onto that tier 2 mid.
Yeah, they can melt towers really darn fast, especially with the Desolator up in Drew. Like, there's that physical damage coming out. You've got the aura from the SF, you've got the right-click attack speed boosting from KYXY. Now the additional minus armor as well in Drew. You're just not going to be seeing these towers standing for long.
No. No, you are not.
Man, you take a look at Raven as well, Mike. Like, look at his item build. He switched out of the shotgun.
Oh, yeah, that's
went
not it.
for the Manta. Like, they waited so long for the shotgun build, and he doesn't go for it. Like, this is... It's not the end of the world, right? Like, he's trying to go for the long game, depending on, like, physical damage instead. But that's just a slower build-up and facing up against this early advantage RR does have.
And they're about to break out with the team fight again. Alacrity going onto the DK. Cuckoo's starting to fall low, but a great impale there from Zephyr. They do chain him up. Spike Carapace gonna stun up Drew, but now with the Roar, they get rid of that pesky Nyx Assassin. RR just looking
Look
great.
at tier 3. What? It's just so fast.
It's really darn quick with the Beastmaster and Deso on the Ember. And they want to go again. Like, Alacrity still has the Aegis. He's thinking about it. He does eventually just get out of there. Or no, they're looking to swap now.
Oh.
They got the Ensnare off. That's going to be a dieback on the Nyx if they do get him. Chains do not connect, but did you see the damage from the Sleight of Fist of Drew? My god.
Jesus, it's the Aura Desolator, which is so scary right now.
Yeah, Soulbind comes in with the double silence. They are dishing out quite a bit of damage over to Drew on that Ember. Sonic Wave as well. They do find him. Now Cuckoo getting stunned up. Meanwhile, Carl's in the back lines just dealing with the supports the best he can. There's the Requiem, though. They'll lose Cuckoo. Carl will be able to blink out of there. And RR gonna make a decision. Do you finish off that Rax or not? The pings come out from the Keeper of the Light. Nut says we are going right now. And I don't blame him. I think it's just too important of a Rax not to take when you're only 25 minutes in. And they do grab it.
Yeah, it's just a really clean fight for RR. They do expand the Aegis, but it was going to be expiring anyway. Really good timing on that usage. Losing Drew's not the best. At the same time, Drew's not the biggest target here. It's really down to Alacrity. Alacrity is the big, scary Shadow Fiend now. He has a Satanic up. So it's going to be super hard to control him. Like, you get your stuns off. If he doesn't die, he just pops that on. Man fights everyone. There's nothing any hero from Geek Camp can do. Raven has nothing to deal with it. He actually queues up the shotgun now, after the Manta. So just a lot of defensive items on Raven. And, you know, maybe it'll help out. Like, he hasn't died in a while. So that's worth noting, at least. But he needs the damage out soon.
I always have this thing with Morphling games, John. If a Morphling has Ethereal Blade queued and he does change to Manta, then you know something's wrong. Something has gone very, very wrong. So any Morphling player would rather the Ethereal over the Manta 9 times out of 10. It's not only more fun, but it's just way better to have if you have that much of an advantage early on. Raven's still going to make his way to it, though. So it's just going to be a very, very late shotgun to have. The effectiveness of that shotgun is in question, but I suppose if you are going for heroes like the Keeper of the Light, you could still burst Nuts down very, very quick anyway, so it's not too big of a deal.
Yeah, the one thing as well with the delayed shotgun means that Alacrity didn't go for his BKB. Like, he queued out earlier, doesn't go for it. So he's not going to have that defensive item. That could cause issues once it's up. Like, disarm is really the main thing, not even the damage. Like, Alacrity's way too big to burst, but the disarm is going to cause a lot of issues here.
Well, they're going to make their way into their own jungle now, RR. They have that Roar, they have that Blink on KYXY. Nice wild access to break down those trees, and Cuckoo really shouldn't be able to get away from this, but it looks like he manages to. Meanwhile, Hustle was trying to find the Grimstroke in the tree line, but he does manage to TP away in time. And so RR don't really manage to find anything through those rotations. And speaking of, Carl, he'll TP into the mid lane now. Does have that Orchid up, but you had the Glimmer Cape out from Nuts. That'll make sure Carl could not really follow up on that Orchid.
Yeah, it's a bit disjointed for Geek Fam. Like, they're trying to go for opportunistic pickoffs, but they need to kind of be together. You want the Queen of Pain and DK together now for these kills. You need them together. Just that Blink stun is just so important. And we haven't really seen it kick in beyond that bot defense. So they need to kind of play around that a little bit more just to find those small pickoffs to give themselves a bit of an edge.
Well, the final outer tower now for Geek Fam is starting to go down. Alacrity just dealing with it by himself. Drew will eventually join, and you may as well just force another tier 3 tower. Like, we haven't even seen Alacrity use the Satanic yet. It's
yeah.
May as well just try, and well, with the repair kit, things get a little bit harder. So they'll just let it run out. Maybe wait out the next Roshan instead.
It's a safe play. Like, they certainly do have the advantage. I think they understand that Raven is not quite hitting his timing, so they're just a bit more comfy with that. But you do kind of still worry, right? Like, even though this is not the best morph game for Raven, it's still a Morphling. And straight after the E-Blade, he actually is going for the BKB.
Oh,
That's the
Drew.
point when Morphling can be scary. Ooh.
Bot lane,
Yikes.
they found a massive kill, and it was off the back of that Nyx Assassin being played by Zephyr. Just the Spike Carapace into the Impale, just a very easy setup. And of course, even without the most amazing farm on Raven, he still hits like an absolute truck. So, there's no doubt they could still get you down if you get caught out by yourself.
Yeah. It's, Reality Rift has kind of let loose in the warding. Like, they used to have a whole bunch of sentries, and now they really don't. To be fair, that was, like, not the location you'd expect Geek Fam to be in, but it's a massive kill. 2k swing. Like, from a 4k lead down to 2k now for Reality Rift, so that definitely cost him a bit. And Raven does have enough gold to just finish up his E-Blade now. So the shotgun's gonna be up and running. We're at half an hour in, but it will be up. And, again, no BKB from Alacrity. He doesn't have that queued up. He is going to be vulnerable to that.
He's going to have that shotgun as well, just as the Roshan respawns. You couldn't have asked for a better time if you're Raven. And I imagine RR will try to go for that Roshan very, very soon. In fact, they do just scout it out now. Geek Fam will smoke up. They do also scan out that Roche pit. Nobody inside quite yet, but they scanned out the Pango. This could be awkward for Geek Fam if they lose that high ground advantage. And, well, they spotted out the Ember. They jump on Drew with the Inkswell as well. And he gets blown up immediately. Hustler rolling around into Roshan. Doesn't really find anybody. And, well, that'll be it. It seems RR. Do you really want to keep fighting here? It looks like the answer is yes. They jump in with a roar onto Cuckoo. But that is not an easy target. And perhaps now with the Soulbind double silence as well, they can try to fight back. The Sonic Wave comes out from Carl, and KYXY may tick out here. In fact, Carl will finish the job off. Now back onto the SF. They'll find Hustler. They'll find the SF, and ooh, RR, that was not it. Drew brought back as well, John. He got silence. It's going to be a tie back on Drew.
Oh, boy.
They
Straight
just-
to the pit as well. Jeez.
They just
RR.
forced a team fight without their Ember.
Yeah, that
Zephyr.
was no. Zephyr. He gets a reset. I don't think he meant that, but RR they forced the fight from the low ground as well. They're pushing from below the ramp. They knew Geek Fam would be up there. They don't respect the shotgun.
Carl
like,
is
you
still
saw what
going.
happened to Alacrity.
It's a full team wipe.
Oh,
All right.
yeah, just like that. Geek Fam with a 4K lead, 12 to 16, half an hour in. RR, one big mistake. Fighting from the low ground into the high ground, not respecting the shotgun. Alacrity, he just got shotgun in the middle of it, and he couldn't use his Satanic, couldn't right-click. He already popped his Manta earlier on, so for the full duration of that ghost time, he couldn't do anything, and he needs to fix that. He's queuing up the BKB next. Once that's up, you kind of fix your issue. Is it going to be up fast enough? I'm not sure. Like, Geek Fam is feeling super darn strong now, right? Cuckoo with a BKB just stands in front, does the damage. You've got the BKB up on Carl as well. And Raven is scary now. He is super scary with all the stats he has.
He is indeed. Even Carl, he picks up a Shiver's Guard now. And they look very ready to take another fight. Alacrity does spot out Raven. Has to be very, very careful with how he positions himself right now in that SF. RR, they are 5 again, so perhaps they say let's go for a smoke, and in fact they are. Nuts does bring it out of the backpack, and it's time to go. They're just kind of not popping the smoke yet, they're just waiting. Looks like just a wave. Alacrity just wants to clear out the wave before they go. There we have it.
They don't have vision on the map, though. Like, Reality Rift has no wards out. Like, they have the Hawks, but they're not spotting the rest of Reality Rift right now. Oh, the rest of Geek Fam.
They're going to try and jump on a Q. Oh, Raven, he shows himself. That could be a blessing in disguise for RR, but now the smoke breaks. They try to blow up the SF, but what a Manta dodge. He Manta dodges the damage from the adaptive strike. Now the Will is being dropped, but it's a lot of damage from Carl. He's just blowing him up. This is not great news for RR. Alacrity is trying to fight back the best he can. They are still falling, however. Cuckoo is alive throughout all this. The Inkswell is there. They finally found the Dragon Knight. Can they get Raven? The buybacks came out from both the Keeper of the Light and the DK, and now they turn back around. Straight onto Hustler. The Pango's dead. KYXY is very low. He'll go down as well, it seems. And Raven can now focus his attention on the main man. He wants the SF. Alacrity's in trouble. He pops a Satanic, but it's only going to last so long, surely. Though no, maybe they try and turn it. Raven, he's in trouble again. But ultimately, he had the Aegis on him the whole time anyway. In fact, they jump back in with the Dragon Tail. Carl already calling it perfect. No man to dodge on the Inkswell, and he gets blown up. Oh, that is terrible, terrible news for the side of RR. And Geek Fam gonna take that tier 2 bottom. Look at Cuckoo John, already trying to find another target.
Yeah, it's just a great play coming out from Geek Fam. RR was the ones to play aggressive again. They did not have proper vision. They couldn't find the backline because their Hawk was like at the ramp area. So they smoked without information and cost them, widening the lead of Geek Fam to 15k. They really need those BKBs out. Like, it's going to be a bit late now. If they can hold out and farm those BKBs somehow, they can take control back. Because you look at the rest of Geek Fam, like the farm on Cuckoo has kind of stagnated. You don't see that Ags coming out from DK. Your biggest issue is just Raven. And if you can get the BKB, you stop that from being an issue.
Well, there's the tier 3 tower going down. Geek Fam, what a comeback. So far anyway. RR not out of it quite yet. But it is looking pretty darn bad. They'll back off. They found 1 Rax. That kind of evens out that bottom lane for the side of Geek Fam now, so they don't have to worry about it constantly being pushed in. Of course, there's a couple bounty runes on the map, so it's time to go grab those. Overall, you know, with this draft from RR, this is that point where you start to drop off a little bit. You know, the SF doesn't really do as much as he used to. The Ember is still pretty good. Like, you've got great scaling potential, but at the same time, you look at Drew's farm, and he hasn't really gone anywhere with it after the Desolator. He kind of just stopped farming after that. It's been stagnant.
It's been really stagnant for RR beyond Alacrity's farm. Like, they need a lot more. They need those BKBs. And they smoke, but Alacrity just immediately breaks it. So they're not going to find anything.
Yeah. Zephyr was there in the Vendetta just in case anyway. RR still looking for a target for themselves, but Alacrity did make it just a little bit too obvious. Though I say that, Carl just kind of jumped into the mid lane, but they don't really take advantage. Now a big line being drawn out as the side of Geek Fam is smoked up, and they want to try and loop around. Carl is trying to bait in the side of RR. They will remain...
Really good scan.
It is. And they're just going to force that mid lane.
Yeah. I guess they know. They could just kind of cut through the wave and try to find that. It is going to be hard to get a full push, though. Like, I guess the bot lane will eventually shove in, if that's what they want, but they don't find anything for their efforts as well. So it's going to be just a little bit more stagnant. Looks like RR is going to maintain control in the triangle. But with that creep wave going into the high ground, they could actually lose towers here.
Yeah, Raven's going for it. He knows he can go through the tower. They're going to just try and trade. RR not feeling confident to go for the 5v5 team fight, so rather just try and find a Rax. Impale going to be there from the Nyx Assassin, and Cuckoo does also TP back. Now Carl's here. He blinks straight in, but got chained up. Now BKB with the Sonic Wave. It's pretty darn big, but it's not enough yet. Raw came out. It is onto Cuckoo, and nobody's aiming the Dragon on. And here comes Raven, blowing up Drew straight off the bat. Now it's onto KYXY. Another great Impale from the Nyx Assassin. They've got Alacrity trapped up. The FSS in trouble. He's not healing anything, and he will eventually end up dying. The Yules will not save. In fact, they even found Hustler. He's trying to find his way out of there, but he is almost certainly just going to die. Geek Fam just looking way too good now. They will make it a 4-for-1 trade.
Yeah, the one good thing for Reality Rift is they found Carl, so the Queen of Pain's not going to be around, at least for any sort of movement. Not like it matters too much. It's all about Raven now. He's got his Satanic up. He was having some issues regenning, but now he has that answer. You do have the BKB buyout on Alacrity, so he's not going to have buyback. This is an all or nothing item buyout for him. It's the last fight for RR.
Yeah, well, you might get megged here, though. That's the thing. Like, you haven't got that buyback gold now, so... I don't know about this, John. I suppose you need it anyway. Like, there's no point. You're going to lose the team fight regardless without it. So you've got to just allow the megas to happen and just try to take the team fight that you think will work out better.
Yeah, it's just super important to have that. He needs it, right? Like, we've been talking about it for a while, but the BKB is going to stop a lot of the issues you have here. I say that, though, but it's kind of scary. You saw Carl do a lot because he has his 25. Like, jumping in and screaming, man, even though it's just 1.2 seconds, that is so much time for someone to just get blown up. Like, it's super hard to fight into Geek Fam right now. And all of them are kind of saving up for that BKB. One really important thing for them in these fights as well is their roar target. Like, they locked down Cuckoo, but he wasn't really important. He's not important in these fights at all. Like, he's just a very tanky DK. That's it. He has no damage. He has a halberd. Nothing else to speak of. So you could basically just ignore Cuckoo. You don't even need to bother with a roar. You need to roar either Carl, or if you can somehow get him out, Raven. Those are the two key things to go for.
I mean, I would have to agree as well. Like, every single fight we do see, Cuckoo's the one getting stunned up by the Beastmaster. It just never makes sense to me. He's not the problem. All he's doing is spamming Dragon Tail and auto-attacking. Zephyr gets an Impale off now on Drew. Can they burst him in time? It looks like maybe they can, and Drew is dead. He'll buy back. Alacrity's back up now as well. They won't get megged, so that's a positive. The repair kit will save them. Geek Fam will walk away with 2 Raxes up. And alright, look, if they can take a good team fight or two, you never know. They could push this game back. But it is going to be really on the back of those rules.
Yeah.
I just don't see the point.
Nah.
There's just no point on Cuckoo. It's 0 point. Nobody's aiming him.
Yeah, look. He's great when he gets his Dragon Tail off. That's it. Like, he's not a threat, right? You may be annoyed. Maybe your supports are scared. You can't afford to stun the DK. Like, it's just pointless. He's doing a fantastic job with just this farm. I'm not saying it's bad for him. It's that it's still not the right target. Even the supports, like, maybe if you burst Whitemon down, or even Zephyr. Zephyr's Nyx has been getting double stuns every single time. That is super bad. It's just so much control that Geek Fam has used to burst, because they have burst.
Yeah. And now they go in for another tier 3 tower. They just go back for it. Force the glyph out and off we go again. I really do like this from Geek Fam. They're not afraid to use their mobility with these heroes and just continue to force out these little wins for their side of things. And now RR, they feel the pressure. They need to smoke. They need to make something happen right now. Otherwise, this is going to happen all game to them. So there's the Roar coming out on the Grimstroke now, trying to find that support, but maybe they don't even find him. No, they do. Just in the nick of time, but what a huge Sonic Wave. Carl again, just really setting up for his team. Alacrity, he pops the BKB, trying to fight back now. Raven, he gets speeded up by that Requiem. He is left alone somewhat, but he can waveform away. And now the rest of his team jumping back in. That BKB is worn off Alacrity. He's a sitting duck right now. He's still trying to fight back, but can he actually do so? Not really. He's in trouble. He's going down. He has buyback gold this time around. So there is a bright side to it, but they do call GG.
Oh.
Well, they don't have Drew
Yeah.
for another 80 seconds.
Yeah.
It's just going to be way too hard to defend.
Yeah, that was a... Look, it looked really nice for RR in the early game. They never hunted down Raven. They found him, what, once? They killed him once? And that was it. They left him alone. They felt confident. They misplayed around that fight in the triangle. Like, they chased up into the high ground, into Geek Fam. That's when it really swung. the way of Geek Fam. Alacrity's itemization was also not set up for it. Like, he skipped the BKB for other items, and that just cost him. Like, if he hadn't really BKB, even when it wasn't necessary, perhaps, if once Raven showed up with his long farm, it took him a really long time for the E-Blade. If you had that BKB earlier, Raven would not have been an issue. So a lot of things just not quite lining up for RR. It was really solid, though. Would be interesting to see if they fix that up for Game 2.
We'll have to see, John. Game 2 should be coming up in about 5 to 10 minutes. It is MLP Dota on John X Fire, and we'll see you all again very, very soon for that game number 2.
Under peach yellow skies, dreaming big and aiming high. Name the clouds passing by, wishing we run away. All we need is our passports, baby. Leave the rest in our troubled minds. Let us go down in laughter, baby. Trying to figure out what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. Book a plane, fly away. We will never be the same. And as long as you are mine, come on and run away. We wanna run away. We don't need any reasons, baby. Leave it all for the faded hearts. I don't mind if they call us crazy, 'cause they don't understand what we're after. We're never heading back until we're old. keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. We're no kids no more. I need to feel alive in this dreadful town. I'm running out of time, and as long as you're mine, I wanna run away. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. shape in your eyes. I just wanna feel
eyewitnesses have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is still unclear. No matter what your passion is, soccer, rugby, racing, or esports, become a part of the experience with the moments we deliver.
These are those moments I don't think anybody else is going to forget.
ESL 1 is brought to you in part by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, GG Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, and DHL.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for the Game 2 draft between Reality Rift and Geek Fam. It is, of course, MLP Dota and John X Fire. John, we are back here for the Game 2 draft. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit late, so the draft has begun. But, sir, how are you feeling after Game 1?
I'm feeling pretty pumped up. It was a really solid game coming out. It looked like Reality Rift had a massive advantage. They had the early objectives, but they weren't finding the key kills. Geek Fam, they had Raven, they had trust in Raven, he had farm, he came back in, even though he kind of segued to the Manta style first. Once that E-Blade was up, they just had enough damage to really clean up. RR did not have any early BKBs. That costed them. Their itemization really just not playing in too well there, and Geek Fam did manage to pull it out. Would be interesting to see how Reality Rift does shift it out this time. Like Geek Fam, they open up with the Grimstroke once more. They pick up the Queen of Pain this time. So that Ember Spirit is not there. Yeah, you don't have that combination there. You don't have the DK as well, because Geek Fam banned it out themselves. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Geek Fam's draft develops. Reality Rift, much more straightforward opening as well. Trine Protector and Pangolier. You don't really have those flex first picks here, but it's still pretty solid from both sides. Great team fight for both, and great control. A lot more emphasis on defense from Reality Rift with a Trine to kind of slow down a push.
I like it. I like the openings. Of course, RR do need to change things up, right? Because that last game, they had a great start going for them. And it just kind of ended up dropping off once we hit that mid to late game where Geek Fam just seemed to get out of control. So I do like the fact that they're switching things up a little bit, especially with the Trine Protector. So we'll see where else they go with this. It is still very early on, so it's hard to know where exactly they're going. In fact, if I was to ask you where do you think they really went wrong last game? Like, what was the real problem? Where did it all go bad? Because it felt like everything was going so good.
Yeah, like they had really strong push, right? Remember that bot tier 3 push? That tower just melted with the Desolator, the Beastmaster as well, just so much damage onto that objective. But what they really missed out on was getting Raven down while he was weak. For a very long time, They left the bot lane alone. KYXY was just solo against the morph. Past, like, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes passed, they just gave up. And that's fine, right? Like, you don't expect the Beastmaster to do too much. The moment KYXY hit 6, though, we didn't see Reality Rift go down bot to get those kills. Like, they tried once, it failed, the smoke gang failed, and they stopped trying. They needed to kill Raven over and over again, prevent him from farming up, and then the greedy play would have paid off. Alacrity's build skipped the BKB because they thought they shut Raven down hard enough. He went Lincoln's Manta style first. He had no burst damage for the first 25 to 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes. I remember the point when the E-Blade came out was on the half R mark. And that was so long. No BKB built up from Reality Rift. And that really just cost them. So it was down to timing. They dragged the game out too long. They had no response, and Geek Fam just managed to manipulate that. But that's how Geek Fam plays. When you have Raven, right? We see him play the Morphling like this. We see him play the Terrorblade like this. Reality Rift should be aware that's kind of Geek Fam's win condition.
Well,
Yeah, it's just curious. I think they need to play a bit of a faster pace and apply more pressure onto Raven. Like, the Warlord here is really good. You don't have the Oracle in play, so you kind of don't have that sure, I don't know, 2 life or kind of like a 3 life for the Troll, but it's still pretty super solid to have. It's just a really fast core. Unless you go Battle Fury, then you're kind of giving yourself a hard time for no good reason. I'd say, S and Y is fine. Fast Diffusal can be fine as well. Just a much faster build-up is necessary to go up against Geek Fam.
I certainly agree with that. Of course, Ara here to make their 4th pick now. The Troll Warlord does look very, very nice. Especially into that Queen of Pain, just trying to get that ensnare off and lock her down. And speaking of lockdown, John, the LC's come out now. So even more lockdown to try and make sure that Queen of Pain just can't do whatever she wants. And in all fairness, Carl was quite annoying, especially during those later stages of the game. Just consistently repositioning in the back, getting big sonic waves off, getting big screams off, bursting down their supports every single time. And RR don't really want to have to deal with that again. They want a way to deal with this. Geek Fam, however, now seeing those 2 cores pop up, should have an idea of how to find some counters towards the LC Troll.
Yeah. The one thing with the LC pickup for the Queen of Pain here, it's a bit iffy because Cuckoo has played that hero off as well. Like, that's one thing Geek Fam has. It's that flexibility. Like, we saw it in game 1 with the early Ember and DK picks. You don't have something like that for RR. Like, you could argue the Pangolier could still be Hustler's hero or KYXY's hero, but I think that really should be Hustler's in this case because of the Legion Commander, of course. So there is more flexibility for Geek Fam. They go with the Monkey King next, and it's still flexible for Geek Fam because that's something Carl can play mid. That's something Drew can. That's something you can see on Raven as well in the safe lane. So there is still flexibility in Geek Fam. RR has to be pretty careful. They do have last pick, so they're not going to be caught too off guard.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, Geek Fam looking pretty darn decent with this draft. We have one more ban for either side, and we can get going with this game after one more pick for each side. And they do get rid of the Razor, which I actually like that ban quite a lot, because that would have been really devastating for RR had the Razor come out. It kind of looked like they were lacking a lane for it, but ultimately they could have thrown it off lane, they could have thrown it safe lane, it could have really gone anywhere. But I like the fact that they just get rid of that Razor. Just a direct counter towards the LC Troll. Geek Fam, however, need to get rid of some kind of mid-core here, and well, as far as I'm concerned, John, there isn't one that sticks out too much to me. I wouldn't blame them for respect banning the SF, because Alacrity does tend to play that hero very, very well, and they do.
Yeah, he had a really solid performance there in game number 1, so not the worst ban out. I think that does give RR a lot of chances to go for much more meta heroes. Like Void Spirit is still an option. Ember Spirit's gone, of course, but Void Spirit's there, Storm Spirit's there. You don't have the best lockdown from Geek Fam to keep those heroes in their place. So there is an opportunity there for RR if they need like a zippy hero to go into the back line. Both of those heroes are still there. And Puck. We've seen a consistent last phase Puck ban. it's still in there.
They don't go for it though. Geek Fam, they go for the Void Spirit for now and RR. Well, they have the puck if they do want to go down that route. And that puck wouldn't be too bad this game, I gotta admit, John. It does seem like it would work quite nicely with the Troll. Just being able to lock people down during that battle trance is quite disgusting, to say the least.
10 seconds.
Yeah, I think it goes really nicely with the team fight potential they have. Like, you can play around the Dream Coil and then drop the Root after that expires, then have the Pangolier rolling around in the Chaos. Really strong. And it kind of does okay in lane against the Void Spirit. They go with a Storm instead, so they still have that zippy zappy kind of hero to reach the back. You don't have the best way from Geek Fam to lock him in. So it's either you're looking at a very fast Orchid from the Queen of Pain, or you're going to be catching him by surprise by somehow landing your Grimstroke Silence, or somehow also landing your Ice Pad. Like, the best thing without itemization is a stun from Raven into an Ice Pad. That's your most consistent way, and even then, it's not a guarantee. So it should be a decent time for Alacrity in terms of mobility. Doesn't have too much to worry about in terms of getting locked down. They are taking their time here from Geek Fam to close out their picks. I mean, we already know, like, yeah, it's Raven, Monkey King, of course. The big question is, I think it's more than likely it's going to be Cuckoo on the Queen of Pain. It should be, but there is flexibility there. Yeah, nah. Cuckoo and the Queen of Pain off, and we are going to have our mid Void Spirit played by Carl. So you've got the Spirit Brothers once more facing up against each other. Pretty even in terms of a farming lane. A slight edge for Void Spirit early, but Storm Spirit can kind of play catch up.
I like it. I like what I see. Of course, John, you know me. I've got to ask you the difficult question. Who came out with the better draft, sir?
Who came out with a better draft?
In your opinion.
I'd give Reality Rift just a bit of an edge. I think their team fight's so much stronger. Their power spikes are faster. I like the Troll much more than like the Monkey. Monkey's just super timing dependent, right? Like, it depends on how fast you get your Echo Saber, and then your team kind of has to take fights, but you don't really want to take too much fights with a Monkey King. It's just a super awkward hero to play around, because you want to play around the Wukongs, but in this case, Geek Fam doesn't have teamfight control beyond the Jakiro. So Reality Rift has a lot more leeway to get their lineup working, and I think that's going to be key, because they both have similar timings this time in the draft, which is super nice. So both of them want to kind of play aggressive into the mid game. I just think Reality Rift has superior control.
Yep. It definitely, I would have to agree. Like, it does seem that way. With the Treant, the LC, the Pango, there is a lot of control. And you definitely also have the option for the Alacrity Aghanim Scepter afterwards. Once you get into that really late stage of the game. And, well, that AoE Vortex is essentially a mini black hole. There's no real doubting that part. It is really, really devastating if you get caught in it. And really so spammable as well. Like, it's on a 16-second cooldown, which really isn't that bad. You can usually get 2 of them off during a decent team fight. So we'll see if he does end up getting to that point where he does go for the Hags. But looks like both teams are in good spirits anyway.
Yeah, I like it. Like, just a lot of good lucks. You don't tend to see a lot of that friendly banter at the start, but I like seeing it. It's just so it's what I like. It's friendly, gets everyone up. You know you're in for a good game between two teams. They're comfy enough to greet each other with good luck.
Yeah.
Oh, they're actually opting to run Raven on the off lane. So they want to play a bit more aggressive with a Monkey. Like, they want to kind of bring it to Drew, and I think that's fine. Like, the Troll can play range though. Like, even if you have this superior pseudo melee range in Monkey, Troll is actually just switchable to range. So not going to be the easiest time to really bully out something like the Troll, but it is still a pretty solid aggressive try if you want to go for that. Unless they lane swap. Yeah, no. They're walking. Long walk up.
Time to run back up, sir. Luckily, he can just turn into a courier anyway, so...
Yeah.
Not really that long of a walk when you have a free 380 movement speed. That's a cute courier as well. It's a little turtle,
Yeah.
John.
It's a really fast turtle.
It is.
I don't think they walk that fast.
Because he will be up against KYXY and Hustler, and that should be a very preferable lane for that Monkey King. The LC is never really easy to go up against, but as a Monkey King, it can be quite nice. And in fact, Raven actually opts to go for that level 1 Boundless Strike. And I assume that is for the sake of just being able to secure those range creeps when you do need to, but you're not really in range. Raven not really feeling like he needs that early level in Jingu Mastery.
Yeah, I don't blame him, because KYXY right now isn't even going up to the creep wave. He's just spamming overwhelming odds, he's not going for solid right-click last hits, and that does mean that you don't get any chance to proc Jingu anyway.
Raven getting his creep wave pulled back very deep behind his tier 1 tower. This is quite nice for him. So Whiteman's just going to keep him safe now, and KYXY has to get himself very deep to try and contest this, and he just can't. Raven's going to have a free wave or two by himself. It's going to be a very, very nice feeling for that Monkey King, and well, I mean, Hustler's farming the other wave that he pulled for himself, but you really want that going to the LC. That's the thing. That's a lot of time that you've got KYXY not really farming.
Yeah, and KYXY is out of regen now as well. So he needs to hit that level 2 point for the press just to have some burst heal on hand. It's going to be hard to sustain the lane otherwise.
Yeah, Raven could probably just chase him down a little bit and just really force him out of this lane. Already kind of is, like, really keeping him at bay. In fact, now Stroke of Fate comes in and he's going to be able to get that Jingu Mastery proc. Boundless Strike as well. It's a lot of damage with the Inkswell if you can reach for the stun, but no, the lucky shot slow from Hustler was just enough. And in fact, we have first blood happening down at the bot lane. Drew ends up finding Zephyr, and Cuckoo eventually does get nuts, but the first blood will be credited to the Troll Warlord.
Yeah, that's super nice for RR, just giving the Troll a bit of a nice boost. This off lane for Geek Fam is not the best, mainly because yeah, Cuckoo has the Shadow Strike, and you do have regen from the Treant. Like, even if he doesn't have the Living Armor, you just toss the Leech Seed out, you're going to be able to kind of eat through some of that early damage.
It's really problematic here for Geek Fam. We saw this in Game 1 as well, to be fair. They did have a very rough start, but with this kind of draft, you don't really have as much longevity. So you can't afford to hope that Raven will just get to that huge morphling. You know, it's a Monkey King. It needs momentum. It needs a good start. It can't have a negative start. And so far it's not, but you get my point. Once you hit that mid-game, you need to start making plays. He is not a farming POS 1.
Yeah, it should be a faster pace for Geek Fam in that sense, and you want the Monkey King to be there, and same thing with Carl, though he's having a really good time down mid. Lots of last hits, 7 last hits ahead of Alacrity, a lot of harassment out. Alacrity's gonna have to play catch-up somehow.
That's a Storm Spirit. He'll just eventually rotate into the jungle, just use his static remnants. It's not going to be too hard for him. The problem is what Carl's going to be doing during that time. So as we like to note that Void Spirits tend to enjoy just roaming the map after they hit that level 7 or 8 mark and just create all kinds of havoc. And I'm sure that's what Carl will be focused on for a while.
Yeah, all the side lanes are really viable for rotations as well. Because you have the Queen of Pain and the Monkey King, these heroes just have nice burst by the time they hit 5. You can really just maximize that early kill op of this entire lineup from Geek Fam.
Oh! Raven! What a mischief dodge coming out, barely able to survive a bit longer to get the Pangolier kill. Now bot lane, Drew ends up falling, Cuckoo ends up finding that kill, and they should also find Nuts.
Ooh.
Well, it's a big hit from Nuts, but he doesn't feel confident, and there was Fairy Fires available, though Cuckoo should tick out to the overgrowth damage, and he does.
Oh yeah, just a bit of a scary time when you blink too close to the tree. And his right clicks, man, nearly 100. Yeah, you don't want to be twacked by that. They still are happy. Like, Geek Fam found the 2 kills in the lane. They managed to slow Drew down just a tad, so it's an even 1-1 now for him. And you get, I guess you get a reset on Cuckoo, so he comes back in fully regen. He has his boots up. They can try again.
They certainly can. And Nut's gonna chase Zephyr down, force him out of the lane. He'll actually just TP back to the tier 1 tower anyway, so it's not too big of a deal. The Jakiro will still be around. Carl's approaching that level 7 mark as well very, very soon, and he's still basically free farming on the Void Spirit. So you could definitely expect some very, very early rotations from the Void Spirit coming soon. It's generally one of those heroes that isn't going to wait for too much. In fact, he jumps into Alacrity trying to take the power rune. Now we'll jump back on top of Alacrity, but he's going to just make his way back to the lane.
Yeah, this is pretty darn good for Geek Fam, though. They force Hustler out from lane to soak the mid lane while you have Alacrity farming the jungle. So you free up that top lane a bit. Raven's going to have a bit of an easier time without having to worry about the Pangolier around. And you just overall kind of secure that early farm that you need on Geek Fam's side.
Raven is thinking about trying to go onto KYXY, but KYXY at this point is just so darn quick with those brown boots. It'll be just fine. Overall, like, this kind of slow play from both teams, and I say slow play, we are already at 7 kills, but both teams have kind of stagnated quite a bit in the lane. Just happy to trade CS for now. Do you think it favors Geek Fam or RR more?
I'd say this kind of play actually favors Geek Fam a bit more. They can make use of that earlier farm spike a bit better. RR, like, they could use the farm as well. It's just that they do have kind of stronger lanes. Like, the Treant just hits super dang hard. They are making a move on Zephyr. If they find that kill, that gives them a bit something.
I thought they would have, but Nuts not willing to risk it, and you can see why. That Shadow Strike Dual Breath slows you down so much, and it's a lot of dot damage, but now Drew going to come back in onto Cuckoo. He knows that Blink is down, on cooldown at the moment, but now it does come off. So Cuckoo willing to try and turn this back around on Drew, but Nuts will be there to make sure he defends his POS 1. And Drew's actually going to just hide in the tree line for a little bit and see if he can find an opening here as Nuts may get jumped, but Drew is still around the area. Overgrowth will be there. Still, now they rotate in with the Troll, but the Quap will blink out, and Nuts still healing, but Drew will deny him off. I don't know if he was actually going to die, but I suppose it's worth just getting the deny off. And now with the Battle Trance, he'll make sure he doesn't die, and he does also secure the kill. But now here comes Carl. He wants to go for this kill. There is going to be an Astral Step into an Aether Remnant, and that is going to be a dead Troll Warlord and a Trusty Shovel.
That's the perfect rotation for Carl. Super efficient, right? He finds the kill and gets the neutrals. Really nice time. That was some pretty tight timing from Reality Rift, though. Even though Drew died, like, he got the 6 right as he needed it. So really good timing from him, just doesn't pay off in the end. Still ends up a very sort of even trade. Still at 4-5, less than 1k lead for Geek Fam. You would want to give Drew a bit of a better time, and they do lane swap. They toss him up top now.
Raven gets jeweled up top. He did get the Jingu Mastery, but Drew is there with plenty of follow-up damage. They don't find the jewel and the Boundless Strike.
Ooh.
I mean, he tried to hit all 3 of them, but the angle just wasn't right. Unfortunately, that means the Monkey will die. And now Drew just set up to take that tier 1 top tower.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want to see from RR. They do have some potency early on, and as long as they kind of play together, that can really kick in fast. Like, the Troll doesn't require too much when a Monkey King doesn't have farm as well. So there is a lot more potency from Drew, and you don't even see Raven level up the Wukongs. As you know, it's a Monkey core. You don't want to depend on the Wukongs.
Speaking of Raven, he jumps in after KYXY, but more importantly, Carl makes a rotation down mid, finds Alacrity by himself. And this is the really the one hero doing exceptionally well right now. Carl on this Void Spirit. Just, you really shouldn't be able to pick off a Storm like that on your own, especially at that level 8 mark for the Storm, but they do. And now Drew gonna get Ice Path up, Raven right behind him with the Inkswell on top. They'll get the Jingu Mastery proc, and that is gonna be a very, very dead Troll Warlord. And Carl will immediately tip him.
Yeah, they are just super efficient right now in Geek Fam. They find that big kill. They take all 4 bounties at the 10-minute mark as well. So that's a lot of gold going their way. 2k lead now. Oh, Alacrity.
Makes the jump. But you can't kill this guy right now, not with Resonant Pulse, or maybe you can. Alacrity tries, but Astral Step will be there, and now Zephyr will rotate around, and Carl is just really on fire right now with the all chat. And nice Aether Remnant straight onto that Storm. Can they get him? Yeah, they can. All chat him, Carl. Give him the tip.
Man.
There we go.
Whew, not safe to go for those runes with Carl so far ahead. Like, he's level 10, still level 8 on Alacrity. He has not had a good... He had a really good game 1. He's at 3k gold now. In fact, all cores on Reality Rift stuck at that 3.4, 3.2k mark. So Geek Fam really wedging out a nice big advantage very early on. You've got some really strong farm on Carl. He's just about to finish up his Yules. And if he wasn't locking you down before, he will certainly lock you down after that Yules is up.
Well, things are not looking great for RR. It's very clear they may need to slow things down a little bit, which is easier said than done up against the Void Spirit, but they definitely have to try and find a way to create some more space for Drew, some more space for Alacrity, just get them to farm up a bit more. But again, it's just so hard when you're up against the Monkey King, Void Spirit, and Queen of Pain. There's so much scoutability and so much kill potential at this stage of the game, and well, they're going to at least try and force in this tier 1 tower, but no, they spotted out Nuts. They want the Treant kill. And Raven can just keep eyes on Nuts the whole game. Can you find him, though? Can you actually kill him off? Primal Spring. Nuts. He's still going to just run through the tree line, and here we go again. Raven's there. Ice Path does come through, but now Alacrity TPing Raven. He needs to get out of there. They'll make the jump on Zephyr. Nice rotation from RR. And now Rolling Thunder will be committed. They're going to go through all the trees trying to find this Monkey King, and they will not get so lucky.
Yeah, it's a bit of wasted time for RR. Like, they still find a Jakira, that's nice, and felt like Zephyr was kind of baited into my Raven, but better him than Raven, although you have given us so much space to kind of a Geek Fam just finding more farm. Like, that time is used by Carl just to farm up. He finishes up the Yules. So he's going to have all the control in these fights. He can really go for the solo pickoffs now. You do have the Blade Mail up in KYXY, but that's not as game-changing. It's a very efficient item, really good amount of damage. The Blink is really when that comes in line as well.
Aether Remnant going to lock in Hustler. It's going to be another easy kill for Carl. With that Yule Scepter, you've got that guaranteed setup now for the Aether Remnant. And this is his time to really just keep up this this snowball momentum. Every time he's got those two charges of Astral Step, you just rotate across the map and find more kills if you are Carl.
Yeah, it's kind of curious that he's held on to the shovel this entire time, though. Like, that's something you would definitely just toss to your supports. I mean, there's a broom on hand, you know, that's super nice on the Void Spirit.
Has anyone taken the broom?
Nope, it's just in there.
Okay.
Inefficient.
Is it though, John? Carl could theoretically find a bounty rune with that trusty shovel and get it bottled up.
Oh, that's fair. That's a good point. It's a pretty small chance though, but yeah, there's value in that if you want to gamble.
Hey, he's feeling lucky today. He's he feels like he should be gambling right now. And well, speaking of, they're gonna make a jump onto Nuts. Nuts commits the overgrowth, but that is not gonna help. Good night.
Yeah.
Nuts is gone.
That's such a massive cooldown to expend as well. Like, RR, we were talking from the draft, has great team fight. We haven't seen that play out. Like, they have leveled 6 on their two supports that really need it. They have the Rolling Thunder, they have the Overgrowth. They're not confident enough to find these pickoffs, and they really need to. It's almost like game 1 where they're maybe finding a couple of trades, but not the important ones.
The one thing they are doing right, though, is pressuring objectives. KYXY, though, may die mid and does, and now Hustler is going to roll away, and looks like there will not be a chase on top, so he will be fine. The one thing I have noticed with this game, John, is in terms of objectives, although you don't really see any advantages quite yet, RR have really been focused on trying to apply pressure onto that tier 2 top tower. And
Yeah.
for a while now, that bottom tier 1 tower wasn't taken out up until this point. So RR was doing something right, but now you're at that point where you look at the net worth, you look at that Void Spirit, you look at that Monkey, they are just so far ahead. And it's like, how do you slow them down?
You have to force those early fights to get that done. They are buying a lot of space for Drew, so they're trying to have him bounce back from that rough laning phase. He's working into the Basher, and that will help the troll massively. You know, it's just insane chain stunning coming out. Once that's up and running, they will have to wait for that, and that could give a bit too much time to Geek Fam. Like, they're itemizing quite nicely. Raven already has the Echo Saber. He's saving up for the Desolator next. You have the Necro book on Cuckoo just for additional farm and push, and I guess the stats are nice. So he has that. He's working onto a mech, so just full utility in the Queen of Pain. You don't really need too much damage, though, when Carl is really just carrying it. And speaking of Carl, he's saving up for his own axe. So he's 2 parts away. Not too far, not too close. You see the same thing with Alacrity. Well, he was queuing it up a while ago, but he's going for the Bloodstone next.
Very close call top lane, by the way, John. Zephyr barely managing to TP out in time before a Rolling Thunder hit him. Bot lane, however, Cuckoo may not be as lucky as he does get rooted up. Silence will be there with the Soul Bind, and Sonic Wave is also committed, but it will lead to nothing. Or maybe it will, because Raven is around the corner, but he can't do much by himself on the Monkey. I say that, but they do make the jump now onto Nuts. Inkswell going to be there, and Raven, he does at least get himself a support kill.
It's not the best trade. In fact, it's a pretty darn bad trade, although Drew up top.
That's a good
Caught
one.
out.
Yeah, Carl's got him in the 8th Remnant. Drew may just try and man up here with the Battle Trance, and I think he has no choice for the silence. Oh, you need to pop that ASAP. That Grimstroke can get you like that, and Carl will remind him of that fact.
Man, Carl has just been constant with mind games. Just the constant all chat, the tips. He's really trying to sneak into Reality Rift's nerves. And RR, well, they've kind of got to tie it up together. Losing Drew is super massive. That's the one hero you've been buying space for, and he's really not equipped for it. He's not even close to the form that you have in Geek Fam, so a lot more investment is needed. There needs to be more activity from these supports. Like, Hustla and Nuts have to play together along with KYXY. Just go around, run a spree, use your ults, maybe find support pickoffs. They need to get some better wards as well. Like, there's not too much deep, and even their defensive wards aren't the best. Like, there's a lane ward down bot that's not giving them any useful info anymore. That's kind of a waste.
There's definitely some real problems here for RR. I guess the one positive is they've been able to maintain that those 2 tier 1 towers that have been left, and they've been quite focused on making sure that mid tower does not drop. With a draft like Geek Fams, it feels like if that tier 1 does go down in the mid lane, this map is just going to be way too open. Their jungle is just going to be going to the way of the Dire, so they are just focusing really on making sure they protect that.
It's going to be key. Definitely is.
You seen the mech build on Cuckoo, by the way? That's a
Yeah.
little unorthodox, but I like it. I mean, it is an
Actually,
offlane pop.
Yeah, I think we've seen it a couple of times in the offlane pop, although
Nuts. Overgrowth. Going to be pretty nice. There's going to be Raven jumping in, and now Carl will show himself. 8th Remnant does actually lock in the troll, and Sonic Wave going to secure the kill, but now there's going to be a bit of trouble. Raven does go down. A great Ice Path, though, coming out from Zephyr. And that'll mean 8th Remnant comes in. Carl secures so many kills. And another great Ice Path. Yeah, it's going to be a full team wipe coming out. Hustler, he gets Yules up, trying to help his teammate out. KYXY dead. Hustler also going to go down. And they got Raven, which is a really nice kill, but the follow-up there from Zephyr. And then you got that huge astral step from Carl onto 3. It's just way too much.
Yeah, it's a lot to counteract. RR messed up by having Nuts blow the Overgrowth super early. He needed to hold on to it, but he was dying. You know, he was jumped first. He had to get it out. RR can take these fights if they coordinate a bit better. It's just that you can't afford to have Nuts get caught out. You need the Overgrowth to get control. You don't have, like, the Ags and Alacrity. It's not going to be up anytime soon. So the Treant is the setup for your constant chain stun from the Rolling Thunder, and it just didn't line up there.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Again, RR. Just gonna have to take the
man.
time and keep fun. Whoa, that's
Geek
an
fam.
Aghanim Scepter
Yeah.
on Carl. Whoa.
21 minutes. 21 minutes, Yules, Power Treads, and Ags.
There's a Yules coming out onto the Treant Protector, and Nuts just cannot sustain. Okay, how do you deal with an Aghanim Scepter with a Yules on Carl this early? Like,
Dire's middle tower.
I can't remember the
No.
last time I've seen a Void Spirit have an Ags this quick.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous timing on Carl. And that's a trick question, Mike. You don't deal with it. You run. You run when you see Carl anywhere near. Do not even think about engaging. You don't have anything defensive unless KYXY's around, press the attack. Maybe you purge that silence off. But that's just such a massive risk. You just take a step back, farm up, and queue up BKBs. You need to.
Under attack.
It's going to be a big team fight down at bot. They want to defend that tier 2 tower.
Nuts.
Nuts needs to get a good overgrowth off. He hasn't been scouted out yet. KYXY, he goes in for the jewel. They found Carl, but what a nice pass. Zephyr, he found every single person. And that'll allow Carl to survive. Whiteman does die to Nuts, but now it's a cleanup crew from Geek fam. They look to try and turn this one around again. Cuckoo will scout out, give the vision, the boundless strike from a mile away. Drew is trying to run. He pops the battle trance. A zip in from Alacrity. They're going to try and fight this out. Whiteman finds a double kill, however, and now Alacrity, he's been caught as well. Zephyr, are you kidding me? How does he do it, John?
Whew. The timing was perfect, not just from Zephyr. Whitemon's Soulbind caught the Pango right before bumping into our Void Spirit. So he couldn't even get an infinite spin on the leash on Carl. And it all just fell apart. Geek fam, they have everything they could possibly need. RR, they're gonna have to give this Rax.
They're gonna be giving more than that, John. Hustler goes down. Oh my. Geek fam. I mean, game 1, the game looked close. Game 2, it's just not even. I mean, they still, the game's not over, don't get me wrong. You've still got comeback potential there from RR. But it's not like you have some crazy late game carry like last game we saw the Morphling.
No.
It's not like you got a PL, it's a troll warlord. This is his time to be strong. And quite frankly, he's not. You do have a Storm Spirit who can really transition to a late game nightmare, but Alacrity's nowhere near that point, John. He's trying to get a Bloodstone still.
Under attack.
Yeah, he's kind of inching closer. That's not going to fix the issues here. I like the switch up from Drew. He's saving up for the BKB instead, skipped the Basher, so his offensive capability not going to be there. But the BKB is going to bite him. Oh no.
Raven's playing around with him. Raven daring him to try and break the tree down, and he's just going to chase him. Alacrity going to TP, Boundless Strike's not available, Raven did expend it.
Oh. Yeah, it's a scary situation. Like, if he was caught out, not the best times. Fortunately, like, Cuckoo went all in for the defensive build. Guardian Greaves up on the offlane prop. That's actually super big. Like, the push will not stop from Geek Fam, and you're going to have a hard time eating through that additional sustain once you drop below that point on the aura.
Radiant's top tower is falling.
That's a T1 top gone.
Oh, I love this ward from RR though. They've got that triangle ward up and running, Mike. So they do have some semblance of control there, but that's not going to give them info on the Roche.
That is true, and the Roche is starting now, so that's going to be a little bit problematic. I do respect that ward though. I mean, they do scan it out, but do you actually get to defend this? It's dropping very, very quick.
Oh, nuts.
He's going to try. Just delay things out a little bit, but Cuckoo will be on the chase. They will jump in now with Carl, and they just burst him down. But he has bought time. A little bit of Alacrity. He jumps in. He took it. He's got the Aegis. He does manage to steal, but is it going to matter? The fight really begins now as Raven does go down. Hustler controlling up that... Well, who was it, in fact? It was Cuckoo, but he does manage to blink out of there. And now the control begins. Carl is the main target, but he uses himself up. Can he try and turn this for his team? A great 8th Remnant into another great Ice Path from Zephyr. Cuckoo comes back in.
Man.
Hustler goes down as well. This is falling apart.
Oh,
Zephyr's
the
even
blocks!
body blocking. He's body blocking in the middle of a team fight.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Oh,
I mean,
God.
it was just perfect though, right? RR, they got the Aegis Steel. They got an amazing Rolling Thunder. They killed off Raven right at the beginning of that team fight. But none of it mattered. Because it's this two-headed dragon that keeps hitting Ice Paths.
Yeah, that was just perfect from Zephyr. And one big thing that Reality Rift could not secure was Cuckoo. Like, Cuckoo actually won that duel. You know, he won the duel. They lost KYXY. And it costed them. They could not find the big kills fast enough, even if they got the Aegis. So they've taken some objective from Geek Fam, but it's 9-30, 14k lead. Reality Rift has to defend the high ground. They cannot afford to fight outside. They can play around with Overgrowth. They do have Meteor Hammer for follow-up. So there is potency there from RR, but you don't want to force it outside anymore. Not when you're this far behind.
I'd certainly agree with you on that.
Oh man, like I didn't even notice. Alacrity had his Bloodstone right then. So he's down to 11.
Oh, no,
Never a
he
good
j-
sign.
Yeah, it's the worst, right? You're playing Storm, you get a Bloodstone, and then the first thing that happens is you die. It just it is the absolute worst case scenario if you do pick up a Bloodstone as a Storm, which you generally do in this meta, that's for sure. And looks like Geek Fam, they're trying to force out this mid-tier 2 now. They haven't got the greatest siege ability, but I mean, Cuckoo's got the Necro 3 book, so there's that.
It's just funny to watch. Like they're constantly applying the liquid fire, but there's always living armor. It's just kind of counteracted.
The nuts now with the Meteor Hammer on the creeps just to try and get him out of there, but the tier 2 is definitely going down. The only question I have was, do they go further? And the answer for now, at least, is no.
Yeah. Gonna go for the safe objectives. They ping out the top area for the ward. They miss. Oh no, there you go. Finally, someone gets a D ward in that spot.
That they
Getting
do.
that value ward out. Yeah. Huh? Carl?
Mid lane, Hustler almost dies. There's going to be a Soulbind coming out with a double silence. But they can't close the gap, or maybe they can. Raven, what a boundless strike. He found 2 of them as well. Now they jump in with the Vortex. Alacrity trying to turn around, but Raven pops his BKB, and now the Ice Path once again from Zephyr, forcing out the Battle Trance from Drew, but it's not going to matter. Raven's taking no damage.
Oh man. Geek Fam. They're just playing around now.
I don't
They
blame
really
him.
are.
I don't blame him, John. Zip in from Alacrity. He just can't do anything.
Oh, Carl even finds Hustler.
Oh, goodness me, Carl. Have mercy, sir. They've had enough. Carl's 11-0 right now, 29 minutes. It's not like we've never seen that before, but just the pacing of this game, it's been played out perfectly by Geek Fam.
Yeah, like, they're not gonna get Megid, but the tier 4s are looking mighty juicy.
I mean, you may as well be Megad right now, John. There's
Oh yeah.
There's 5 heroes that are bigger than Mega Creeps, I'll tell you that. And they're looking a lot more threatening anyway. Mega Creeps might be that mercy you've been looking for on the side of RR. They are going to start setting up for that top lane now. You see Raven already there to force out the wave, and his team is just going into that Radiant Triangle, just getting ready for the tier 2 push.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty fast push. If I was RR, don't even think about going out. Stay on the high ground. If you can land the Overgrowth Meteor Hammer, there is some hope. Like, there's no real defensive items here except for the BKB on Raven. Otherwise, Cuckoo went kind of all in on the offense except for the Ewels. You don't have anything major from Cuckoo beyond the Guardian Greaves. So there is a chance there if you can get that proper initiation. It's just, well, even Zephyr
nuts.
actually has his own meteor. Oh.
Got scouted out by the Necro 3 units. They do have True Sign after all, and Cuckoo will not waste any time. Just straight Sonic Wave. Deafening. Oh my, they found another
that's
one.
bigger.
Drew. No, not Drew. Gets caught out. Doesn't get bursted yet. They get a duel off. Straight onto that Jakiro. Getting rid of that Pos 4. That Menace. Now Raven. Man fighting Druid Battle Trance. Takes him out. Hustler. Trying to help, but he just can't. They can't do anything.
God.
Alacrity has 0 damage as well. And Raven now is just going to be on top of KYXY, and there's the GG. He calls it before he dies. He will die anyway. Alacrity trying to find some sort of kill for himself before the game ends. He will not get it though.
Yeah, solid, really, really solid performance for Geek Fam after what looked like a very rough game 1. Like, RR was definitely pushing it to them for a lot of that game until Raven was ready. Geek Fam ran such a fast draft this time around. RR was just not ready for how much they were getting. And, man, just Carl on mid, getting so much early on. But honestly, it wasn't fully on Carl. Like, yeah, he's 11-0. That's amazing. You look at the supports. Like, Sepra's ice pads were super perfect. The leash from Whitemon with the Soulbind, it just made Hustle a non-factor. You didn't see the big rolling thunders in the middle of the fights because they were always landing that Soulbind. And Whitemon's actually 5-0 as well. So 2 deathless heroes for Geek Fam. Carl and Whitemon, no deaths.
It's yeah, it was a performance from Geek Fam. Like game 1, it looked a bit rocky for a little bit, you know, for that first 20-25 minutes. It looked like RR were looking like the stronger team. Game 2, none of it. They wanted none of it. They were just going to give it to the side of RR, and they did that. Of course, that is it for us for day 1, unfortunately, John. A very fast day, to say the least. I feel like we've only been casting for maybe an hour and a half, and it's all over.
Yeah, that's one of the great things and one of the sad things about Southeast Asian, though. It's super explosive, but it can be pretty fast. So, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, though, Mike, aren't we?
We will be back tomorrow, yes. There'll be more games going on. In fact, we may as well confirm which game we're casting tomorrow on the B stream, and it is going to be, I believe it should be Fnatic versus RR tomorrow on this stream. So that should be fairly interesting. Of course, Fnatic have been looking extremely strong as well. And yeah, they look really, really strong, actually. They look like they're just going to devastate anyone that comes their way. I suppose only time's really going to tell as to how everything goes there as well. With that, however, that's it for us, John. We should head out for the night. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We all hope you had fun, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night for some more great SCA Dota. See you then.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Smix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really, really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Multiple witnesses have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is still unclear.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Smix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really, really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Multiple witnesses have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is still unclear.
Everybody loves an underdog. Who needs to be liked?
Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Under peach yellow skies, dreaming big and aiming high. Name the clouds passing by, wishing we run away. All we need is our passports, baby. Leave the rest in our troubled minds. Let us go down in laughter, baby. Trying to figure out what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. Book a plane, fly away. We will never be the same. And as long as you are mine, come on and run away. We wanna run away. We don't need any reasons, baby. Leave it all for the faded hearts. I don't mind if they call us crazy, 'cause they don't understand what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know.